Welcome to the 2017 Hardwood Classic here at the Tacoma Dome. Alongside my broadcast partner, my name is Matthew Bissett, and we thank you for joining us here at ABC Jam Productions on the NFHS network. We got a full slate for you today. We got a crew over doing the girls' court. We're on the boys' court. We got the 4A quarterfinals coming up first, the first of which is the 11th seeded Richland Bombers, who are the visiting team this morning. It's not evening yet. I'm used to doing games in the evening, but it's this morning.
I understand, it's confusing.
Yeah, the
9 o'clock, you're doing a basketball game. It should be evening.
Yeah, and the 4-seeded, two-time defending state champion Federal Way Eagles. There's a lot to talk about with these two teams and the contrasting styles of the two teams, which we'll get to throughout the broadcast. But, Alex, I want to kind of lead in with you and talk about this Federal Way team. Two-time defending state champion. I think expectations, sometimes they dictate the pressure that's going to be on the kids. And this team lost 4 starters from last year's team, two-time defending state champions. A lot of pressure coming on to them, coming into the season on them. They start off the season 20-0, 22-0, and they lost a couple games since then, but pretty incredible performance given the expectations and the pressure on this team.
Oh, certainly. You're losing important players like that, and you've won 2 straight. I mean, that's kind of the curse with once you win it all, is everyone expects it's just going to keep happening. It's not that simple. They're able to do it once, repeat, and here they are looking for that 3rd straight. And these, a lot of players weren't playing last year, didn't get the time they did, and they're here to say, you know what, we've faced that pressure, and we're here for a 3rd straight.
So Federal Way, they just ended a 63-game win streak, which set a national record. They broke the state record and then the national record with their 63-game win streak earlier this year, which was finally snapped by Kentwood. Kentwood, whom they lost to, or they beat last year in the state championship, but Kentwood is responsible for the 2 losses that Federal Way suffered this year, and Kentwood just happens to be on the other side of the bracket, so it's possible they meet for a 4th time this year. Kentwood having won 2 of those and Federal Way having won 1, and we'll see how that one goes. But tonight, or today I should say, I got to get that corrected. They got the Richland Bombers, and in an era that's kind of known for the three ball, Richland has a unique circumstance with their team. And when I say unique, it's in the form of the 7'3" junior Riley Sorn. And we talked to Coach Earl Streufert before the game, and he said they build around him. He's not going to shy away from it. They have some good 3-point shooters on this team, but when you have a guy who's 7'3" at any level, especially the high school level, you have to build your team around him. And Streufert's adapted, and he said Riley and the team have really grown throughout the year, and that's why they find themselves here today.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we were talking to the coaches earlier. We're walking past their 7'3" player, I mean, Sorn, he was starting to kind of bend down. I think he was picking something up or something. He was bending. He was like just as tall as me, as he was bending down. I mean, it's one thing when you hear 7'3", but actually being right by it, you don't have that a whole lot.
So as we get ready for the tip here, we have Federal Way in white and Richland, the Bombers, in their usual green and yellow, as Riley Sorn actually lost the tap. And we'll give you the starters here for both teams. The starters for the visiting Richland Bombers, number 5, Ryan Wagar. Number 20, Tyler Kurtz, who averages about 18 points a game this year. Number 24, Cole Northrop. Number 10, Cody Sanderson. And number 52, the 7'3" junior, Riley Sorn. For the Federal Way Eagles, 2-time defending state champ Federal Way Eagles, Marcus Stevenson, number 0. Jalen Womack, number 3. Etan Collins, number 13. Number 25, Malcolm Kola. And number 31, Rashawn Slaughter. So now that we have the starters out of the way, the Richland Bombers have the ball. And it's going to be interesting to see how this lineup for Federal Way fends with Riley Sorn. There's a drive to the hoop. Foul called, and it's going to be a charge. So good job by the defense there, rotating over. That looks like it was number 3 in white, Jalen Womack, who got over in time to draw the charge. Number 20 picked up the foul. That was Tyler Kurtz, the leading scorer for this Richland Bombers team. But if you look out there, you see you're standing at the free throw line in green right now. That's Riley Sorn, 7'3". The tallest starter for Federal Way is 6'7".
I think he just drops the ball in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no up. It's a complete downward trajectory for the ball.
It's hard to get a lot of arc on the shot when you're shooting from above the rim. There's a shot that goes up, rolls around and out. Sorn comes down with the rebound. I'm guessing that's not the only time we'll say that today. Now here come the Bombers right back. And Kurtz has the ball taken from him, and there's a foul. And that's going to be another foul on Tyler Kurtz. So that's 2 fouls on the leading scorer for the Richland Bombers. That spells trouble early on, and Coach Streufert is going to have to pull his leading scorer not even a minute into this one. 59 seconds, which I don't know if you know this, is 1 second short of a minute.
Even in high school?
Yeah, even in high school.
Even in high school, okay. It is, they're using professional minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Garrett Streufert, the coach's son, enters for the first time, and that's going to be a jump ball. Yeah, that's good defense there. The defense being played by Ryan Wagar. He blocked the shot, and the shooter, I didn't catch, who was shooting that one, held onto the ball and came down with it. So that's a good jump ball call and good hands there by Wagar. Inbounds pass. Once again, good hands by Wagar as Marcus Stevens, the senior point guard, tried to get the ball inbounds on the baseline, and Wagar got a hand on it. So 2 nice defensive plays in a row from Wagar.
See if he can make it 3.
Ball inbounded. Now they're going to test the big man, Riley Sorn. He doesn't really have to jump all that much, and the big man for Federal Way wanted no piece of him that time, and there's a block by Sorn. So there you see that 8-inch height differential between Sorn and Malcolm Kola, the 6'7" center. He's listed as a forward, but he's kind of playing like a center right now. That's Malcolm Kola for Federal Way.
It's a refreshing name.
Yeah. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Ball's put up, no good. Rebound to Garrett Streufert. Streufert pushes it. Cross-court pass. There's Northrop, kicks it over to Streufert. Streufert from the baseline is good. The first bucket of the game goes to the coach's son. Just over a minute into this one, it's 2-0 Richland. There's Womack with it, and that's a moving screen call. So that was a moving screen on Malcolm Kola, the big man for Federal Way. And that's one thing where that's as much on the ball handler as it is on the screener. As a ball handler, Womack has to wait for the screener to get there. Otherwise, you don't set him up for success, and that's what put Kola in a position to set the moving screen there.
Yeah, just an awkward position, and this is the result.
Cross-court pass, Federal Way showing some pressure here, and Richland having some problems with it. Now Federal Way out on the break. The layup is up and no good. Somebody has to take the bucket off the rim for Federal Way, as they cannot get anything going in the early on. That lay-in was missed by Palafino Jada, and I didn't even see him enter the game. I'm not sure who took a break. Kind of hectic action here in the early going. A little sloppy, maybe some jitters on both sides, which is surprising considering Federal Way has been here twice. And there's a dunk from the big man, Riley Sorn, and I'm not even sure he had to jump. That looked like me dunking on my kid's Fisher-Price hoop. But it's 4-0 for the Richland Bombers in the early going. Kola tries to go to work, and Riley Sorn sends that one out on the baseline. Back-to-back possessions to add to his highlight reel.
It is all Sorn right now. Really seeing him make some good use of all that height.
Jump shot attempt, no good from Slaughter. Offensive rebound, though, went to Jalen Womack. Or no, check that. That was Etan Collins. And now Slaughter possesses down in the post to Collins. Collins goes up over the defender, no good. Streufert comes down with another rebound. So even though you got a 7'3" guy in there, you have to rebound as a team against a much more athletic Federal Way squad. Streufert being pressured out top by Stevens, able to give it up to Wagar. Wagar now over to Northrop. Backdoor cut, that ball swatted, but there's a foul. So nice backdoor cut by Cody Sanderson. He went in for the land. He was fouled on his way up, and the foul was on Marcus Stevens. That'll be his first. Now Sanderson at the line for 2. First one is up and rolls around and in. So Richland with a record of 20-5 coming into this one. They knocked off a Davis team who was the 3 seed coming into regionals. And talking to Coach Streufert, he pointed out the fact that they just had a huge size advantage over Davis, and Riley Sorn really weighed on them. They only took 6 3-pointers yesterday, even though they're a really good 3-point shooting team, because Sorn's advantage was just so great. That jumper's missed by Federal Way. Offensive rebound sent right back by Sorn. That's his 3rd block in the early going. Eton Collins tried to go up over the big man. Nothing doing there. Collins listed at 6'5", giving up 10 inches to the big guy. Pump fake, drive, pass in the middle over to Sorn, but there was a foul on the floor. That's the 3rd team foul on Federal Way. Richland has 2, which came really early on for their leading scorer, Tyler Kurtz, who hasn't even played a minute in this one yet.
Now, in a tournament like this, I mean, do you think the team with the bye has the advantage? The team, I mean, obviously you generally want a bye, but I mean, you can have some deficiencies with the bye. You think kids this age, I mean, do you think it maybe is a little better to have played the night before?
Oh, there's a fast break dunk. I'll get to your question in just a second. That was Eton Collins, who got out on the break after the Richland turnover for a slam. That's Federal Way's first points of the morning, and we've played half of a period so far. Riley Sorn goes up and lays it in. So that's 4 points for the big man, 7-2. I think it can go either way. I think some teams prefer to have played the previous day. Some teams prefer the bye. Oh, and there's a dunk on the big man by Malcolm Kola. Sorn has swatted away 2 of his shots so far that time. Kola said, I'll just greet the rim myself, and he threw it down over the 7'3" junior. But yeah, I think it can go either way. I don't think these kids have a preference. There's a 3 ball, no good. And Federal Way out on the break. Richland's going to have to do good in transition defense if they want to hang in there in this one. The foul was on the floor as Stevens tried to go up with that one. Let's see who the foul's going to be on. That's going to be on Wagar. So Ryan Wagar picks up his first. Each team has 3 team fouls. It's 7-4 in favor of the Richland Bombers. 3:14 to play in the first quarter. Okay, now we have a break in the action. I can really get to your question there. I think it could go either way. I'm a guy who shoots the ball, and rhythm is everything to me. But the season's so long for these kids. Even if they didn't play last night, the furthest back they played was last Friday or Saturday. So taking a week off, I don't think it's a huge deal. Plus, they practice every day. I think I'd take the rest, given that if you played in Wednesday's game, in order to win a state championship, you have to win a game on 4 consecutive days. So, yeah, I think I would take the rest coming into that. I mean, what do you think?
More winning, you know? Why have 3 when you could have 4? That's what I say.
That's what I say whenever my wife brings home Oreos, and that's why I'm in the position I'm in now.
I mean, that's definitely a win.
So we had a timeout on the floor. I didn't catch who called the timeout, but both teams are huddling. It was the timeout for Richland. Richland called the timeout, so Coach Streufert called the timeout, and Federal Way Eagles, led by head coach Jerome Collins. You can't miss him down there. He's dressed in a blue suit. When you look at the Federal Way bench, he's the sharply dressed man. I felt too casual standing next to him.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm wearing a baseball cap and plaid, and I'll go over there. Yeah. I'm not worthy to share the court with you, Coach.
Stevens inbounds it to Kola. Kola looking to go to work on Sorn again. Kola backs him down. Sorn might have got a piece of that one. No, he got a piece of the wrist. It's going to be a foul on Riley Sorn, and if the Eagles could get him into foul trouble, I'm sure their bench would be feeling very good about things.
That is for sure.
Kola will go to the line for 2. Kola's a 6'7" senior, and quite the contrast in the experience level of these 2 teams. Like I said, back-to-back state champions. Even though Federal Way lost 4 starters from last year's team, they do start 3 seniors on their squad this year, and Kola splits the pair. So it's 7-5 in favor of Richland, whereas the main rotation for the Bombers is a 7-guy rotation. They got 4 sophomores, 2 juniors, and a senior. And there's a 3 ball from the corner. That's the coach's son, Garrett Streufert for 3. It's 10-5. The Bombers are doubling them up. Malcolm Kola down in the post. Sorn jumps. He was able to react in time as Kola wanted to go up with it. Another block shot for Sorn. Nice move there to pivot around the big man by Kola. That's going to be a battle to watch all night, and a fun one to see what Kola can do, giving up those 8 inches. And there's a steal. Eton Collins goes up with a left-handed flush, his second dunk of the night, and just like that, it's a 1-point game.
That did not take much time at all.
That's what full court pressure can do for you. Sometimes you give up some easy buckets, but you're also going to get your fair share of easy ones. Down in the post to Sorn. Sorn goes up, no good. Knocked out, no, it's a good save there by Slaughter. Now Stevens controls, he brings it across the timeline. Now he'll back it up and set up the offense. Cross-court pass to Slaughter. Pump fake, pull up mid-range, off the glass. That was a nice move by Slaughter as he beat his defender. Pulled up from about 15 and knocked it in off the glass. And Federal Way has their first lead of the game, 11-10, in favor of the two-time defending champ Eagles. Sanderson over to Northrop. Northrop spins, drives middle with the right hand, kicks it back out, but he walked before he kicked it out. It's probably a good thing that he got called for a travel because he threw that pass right into the hands of Eton Collins. And that was going to be a fast break going the other way for Federal Way.
Get a little time to regroup this way.
And I kind of lose my sense of direction, but Federal Way is not too far from here. I wonder if the way they're going right now is actually towards Federal Way.
It is not.
Okay.
No, they're. But that's because they at the end of the game. They're going to be going home. They want to be driving home at the end. So that's
I don't
why
think they want to be driving home. They'd like to be playing here tomorrow.
Well, yeah, but I mean they live so close. They're not going to stay in a hotel. That would be financially irresponsible.
Pull up three for Stevens. That one's good. And all of a sudden the Eagles have found their touch as Stevens knocks down a triple, and it's a 4-point lead for Federal Way. And Jaden McDaniels, the 6'8" sophomore, has just checked in for Federal Way. Steal by Stevens, up ahead to Slaughter. Slaughter pulls up mid-range again. He's fouled from behind. Coming from behind, that was number 22, and I don't have a 22 on my roster. Yes, I do. That's Nathan Mitchell. I was looking at the Federal Way roster.
They look very similar.
Yeah.
A lot of numbers.
First foul on Nathan Mitchell as he's just checked into the game. The 5th team foul on Richland. Federal Way still has 3 team fouls. First free throw up and no good by Slaughter. Checking in is number 21 for Federal Way, Mal Pine. And another substitution for Richland. And Riley Sorn will get a break. I'd guess for just the rest of the quarter. You give him a break right at the end of the quarter. It kind of extends his rest.
Yeah.
And checking in was Paxton Stevens, the 6'3" senior. So they put in a guy who's a foot shorter than Sorn for him. Streufert kicks to the corner, Wagar, but Streufert was fouled on the floor. 4th team foul on Richland. Free throws could be one of the stories of this one, as they tend to be in high school games. As all of a sudden, Richland is 2 fouls away from putting Federal Way in the 1-on-1, and Federal Way is 3 fouls away from putting Richland in a 1-on-1 situation. Corner 3 ball from Sanderson, no good. Long rebound. That's McDaniels who passes up ahead. Good job of getting back by Sanderson. Sanderson missed the 3 ball. He immediately got back on defense and picked up a steal. Sanderson goes right to the hoop, misses the lay-in. McDaniels with another rebound. Out ahead to Stevens. Stevens goes to the hoop. Good hands by Wagar again. And Stevens steals it right back. End-to-end action here. Eton Collins up ahead to Slaughter. Slaughter goes up. Wagar got a piece of the ball. He also got some wrists. Slaughter's going to go to the line to shoot 2 more free throws with the Eagles on top 15-10. Boy, if this game was sponsored by Allstate, Wagar would be the Allstate Good Hands player of the game.
It is not, though. So
I understand that.
I just want to make sure they didn't. They paid nothing.
I'm hoping somebody.
They paid not. I just want it to be clear. They are not responsible for this broadcast.
Yeah.
But if they did, he would be. Absolutely. Great hands.
Slaughter knocks down the first free throw. It's 16-10 in favor of Federal Way.
I'm not sure it would have stopped if that foul hadn't been. It just would have been back and forth until the quarter end.
Jovan Vongsang has entered for the first time. Their star point guard Marcus Stevens for Federal Way just got his first rest. Inbound passes look like they're going to be an adventure for Richland as Federal Way is really ramping up the pressure here. Nice backdoor cut by Streufert. Nice dish from Paxton Stevens, and Streufert lays it up and in to kind of stop the bleeding here for Richland. It's 17-12 in favor of Federal Way. And there's a lay-in attempt, which is no good. Eton Collins tried to go right to the rim with no Riley Sorn in the game. Sanderson dribbles across the timeline. Cross-court pass over to Stevens in the corner to Streufert. Back out top to Northrop, who spins. Kicks it over to, now cross-court pass. Sanderson for three, it's good. So good ball movement there by Richland. Really put that Federal Way team on skates. They were running around the court, couldn't keep up with the ball. The three ball by Streufert, that's 5 straight for the Richland Bombers. All 5 to the coach's son. And it's 17-15 back and forth action at the end of one here on the NFHS network. It's the two-time defending champ, Federal Way Eagles 17, the Richland Bombers 15. We'll step away for a moment. We'll be right back with second quarter action here on the NFHS network. Welcome back to the Tacoma Dome. It's the 2017 Hardwood Classic. We have our first of 4 4A boys quarterfinals in front of you today. We're doing all 16 games today, all 16 games tomorrow here on the NFHS network. All of us here at ABC Jam Productions, thank you for joining us today. We hope you're enjoying the action so far. Over on the other court, we have the Stanwood and Lincoln girls going head-to-head. We have a broadcast crew doing that. It's over on another link if you want to click over there and check that one out. But right now, the Richland Bombers and the Federal Way Eagles are going head-to-head in this quarterfinal. Federal Way trying to stay alive in hopes of a three-peat.
It kind of adds to the excitement having both games going on at once. Just have so much going on all at once. And the early rounds, it's kind of how it should be.
And if you have ADD, it's really good because if you don't like breaks in the action, you have something going on at all times. As Sanderson brings it across the timeline, gets to Streufert, handoff to Northrop. Over to Kurtz, who's re-entered after picking up those 2 early fouls. I'm sure Coach Streufert had a talk with him about foul trouble. 3 ball from Northrop, and the Bombers are bombing them from downtown. 18-10, Richland back on, or 18-17, Richland back on top.
Really got a momentum swing there at the end of the quarter.
Yeah, that was all from the coach's son. He had back-to-back buckets, 5 points after it looked like Federal Way was ready to take control of this one. And then they get a 3 to start the second quarter. They're on top by 1, and now Federal Way misses, unable to corral the rebound. The ball's out off of the Eagles and back to the Bombers. Northrop has it in the backcourt. Cross-court to Sanderson. 2-man game in the backcourt. Now Northrop tries to get across the timeline. Kind of a baseball pass in the corner to Streufert. Garrett Streufert cross-court to Kurtz. Kurtz pulls up from 15. That's long, no good. Streufert crashes the glass. He comes up with it, and he's sent packing by Malcolm Cola. Malcolm Cola said, your big man's been doing that to me all day so far. I'm going to do it to you. Cola drives. Nothing there, but he still went up with it. I didn't think anybody from Richland got a piece of it. That's one of those ones that I'm kind of okay with. They could have maybe called a foul there, or they could have called it out of bounds. It should have been a foul in Richland, so they just say, hey, you know what? It's out of bounds off Richland. Let's keep this thing moving. Let's not put anybody in too much foul trouble. 3 ball from the sophomore McDaniels, no good. Rebound up ahead. Nice block from behind by McDaniels as Richland tried to get their fast break game going. McDaniels got the block, but Kurtz followed it up with a lay-in, and it's 20-17 in favor of the Bombers.
Nice recovery there from the 6'6" senior.
There's a pull-up jumper, no good. Streufert with the rebound, over to Sanderson. Now they're going to slow it down. Richland is content to slow this thing down, let their big man Riley Sorn get into the action, as he did take a break for the last 1:18 of the first quarter, and he's back out there for the second. Kurtz drives, lays it up and in. So now the star scorer's back in, and the offense is picking back up. It's 22-17 in favor of Richland. They've scored 12 straight after falling down by 7 points to Federal Way late in that first, and that's a fall-away baseline jumper by Marcus Stevens. 22-19 in favor of Richland. 5:45 to play here in the first half. Sorn down in the post, being defended by Cola. Northrop for 3, good! Oh, these Richland Bombers shooters are really heating up out here, and their ball movement has been spectacular so far. There's a traveling call. I wanted to wait and see what the call was going to be. Stevens got a little bit too much ahead of himself. He got going a little bit too fast and forced something in a group of defenders. And it's a turnover, a traveling violation. Ball back to Richland with the 6-point lead. Northrop being defended in the backcourt. You got to love these white-on-white numbers for the Federal Way players. We're up here in the, about halfway up the stands, and it's really hard to tell their jersey numbers from up here. 3 ball from Northrop. That one's no good. Rebound to Slaughter. Up ahead to Jada. Jada crosses over, pulls up, foul line. Good. He rattled that one in. 25-21. Nice 15-footer there from Jada. Pass up ahead. Looking for Sanderson. That ball was deflected, but right back to Streufert. It looked like Sanderson might have got hit in the face, but no call. They'll keep playing. Streufert defended by McDaniels. That's 2 sophomores going head-to-head. Jaden McDaniels, the 6'8" sophomore for Federal Way, who had that spectacular block on the fast break moments ago. Northrop spins. He's hounded by McDaniels. Northrop falls to the floor, and it's going to be a blocking foul on McDaniels. 5th team foul on Federal Way. Richland has 6, so the next time Richland picks up a foul, that'll put Federal Way in a 1-and-1. And Federal Way's foul situation is only 1 behind them. Another substitution. It is so hard to tell these jersey numbers up here. I'm going to try to keep up with it for you folks, but McDaniels takes a break. And I have no idea who just
We should have got binoculars.
I didn't expect to see white-on-white jerseys. That was Eton Collins that entered. Oh, and there's a jumper.
Tomorrow I'm bringing opera glasses, with the little stick so I can hold the little binoculars in front of my face.
That was Nathan Mitchell with the jumper, and it hit the front of the rim, and you got that shooter's roll where it bounced up over the top and in. There's a floater from Stevens. Stevens was fouled on the way up by Garrett Streufert. They're going to rule he was in the act of shooting, so Stevens will go to the line for 2 free throws. Streufert picks up the foul. Richland up 27-21, 4:13 to play in the half of this quarterfinal. Once again, this is the 11-seeded Richland Bombers and the 4-seed Federal Way Eagles. Federal Way coming off back-to-back state champions, and they've lost 4 starters from last year's team. 27-22 after Stevens drains the first, and he's perfect on both attempts, so 27-23 in favor of Richland. And Coach Streufert, the way he talked about his team and how much they've grown over the year, kind of makes you think, they maybe should be a higher seed in this tournament just if it was based on how they're playing at the moment. But it's based on their total resume, which isn't as good because they lost the 5 games.
It's a little hard to do in the moment seeding.
Offensive rebound by Collins, and Collins tried to pass it out of there, but the size of Sorn and the collapsing defense of Richland forces the turnover. And Coach Streufert of Richland wants to take a timeout with his team on top, 27-23. We're just over halfway through the second quarter here from the Tacoma Dome. So thoughts early in this one. I mean, you can see the athleticism of Federal Way when they get that pressure going. If Richland's not careful with the ball, Federal Way can put up points in the blink of an eye. And then on the other end, Richland can put up points in the blink of an eye with that 3-ball. I mean, they have about 4 or 5 threes in this first half, and they're really stroking it. And they got a lot of guys who can shoot it. So Federal Way is going to have to keep an eye on that, but Richland's going to have to be careful with the ball because you see the athleticism of these Federal Way kids. They want to get out on the break, and they want to finish at that rim.
Oh, yeah, we've been seeing just a lot of action all over the court here, and both the teams have their own unique advantages that you pointed out, and it's really all coming together for a game that, 2-time defending state champion. You might not have expected this so early in the going, but it's really competitive, and of course Richland with the advantage here, getting to the second half of the second quarter. Or if we did it by eighths, that would be the third eighth. We're just starting the third eighth.
We're starting the fourth eighth.
We're starting the fourth eighth. Yes, fractions were never my strong suit. I was never really good at them. If this was 9 p.m., I'd have those fractions for you. I don't do AM fractions.
Coming out of the timeout, Richland has their starters back out there. Sanderson, Wagar, Northrop, Kurtz, and Sorn. Richland with the ball. Here's Wagar on the right wing. Over to Northrop, who's had a spectacular first half, who gets over to Sorn. Sorn catches the ball, doesn't bring it down where a smaller player can swipe it from him, and pretty much everybody on the planet is smaller than he is. He keeps it up high and finishes it up over Malcolm Kola, and it's a 6-point lead once again for the Richland Bombers.
I'm not even sure he knew anyone was in front of him there.
Three ball, that's a deep, that was NBA range. That's NBA range, three ball from Palafino Jada, who's knocked down a couple of buckets here. It's 29-26 in favor of Richland. Only the second three-pointer for the Eagles so far. Northrop drives, puts it up. He doesn't finish, but Riley Sorn's there to clean it up. Malcolm Kola came over to help on the drive, and that left Riley Sorn all alone to gather in that offensive rebound. He put it up and off the glass and in. It's 31-26 in favor of the Bombers. Slaughter, right wing, drives middle, shoots just inside the three-point line. That'll be a two-pointer, but it's good for Slaughter. He looks very comfortable from the mid-range. That's a lost art in today's game. 31-28 in favor of Richland, and there's a turnover in the backcourt. Miscommunication there by Sanderson and Kurtz, and Sanderson walked with it. Couple substitutions, Nathan Mitchell and Garrett Streufert will re-enter for Wagar and Sanderson. And that's the rotation, pretty much. Coach Streufert said they go about 7 guys deep. Here's Slaughter on the right wing, pulls up mid-range once again, no good. Rebound, battle for, Kola comes down with it. Kola passes it, I think he was trying to kick that out to Jada at the three-point line. Slaughter cut right in front at the last second. I'm not sure he knew Jada was there, and the ball went off of Slaughter's hands and out. Northrop in the backcourt. See how he handles this pressure this time from Stevens. Left-handed dribble, crosses the timeline. Stevens is hounding him. Northrop thought about a shot, passes out to Kurtz for three, no good. Rebound to Malcolm Kola, who just went way up over the top of Nathan Mitchell. Jada brings it back. Jada never had control of that one. Swiped away by Mitchell, who can't possess it. It's out off of Richland. 1:51 to go in the first half. Richland Bombers on top of the two-time defending state champions, 31-28. Now Federal Way wants to slow it down a little bit in the hands of their point guard, Stevens. Stevens drives, pulls up mid-range. That one's no good. Rebound to Kurtz. Kurtz wants to bring it up himself after getting the rebound. McDaniels pressures in from behind. Garrett Streufert for three, no good. Rebound, that's Kola once again. Jaden McDaniels gets it up ahead to Slaughter. Slaughter fakes the three, pulls up mid-range, off the front of the rim, rolls around, hits about every part of the rim and drops. 31-30. Richland up by one. Federal Way making a little run here. McDaniels crosses over, kicks it to Northrop on the right wing. Deep three from Northrop, off the front of the rim, no good. Rebound to Streufert, who got poked in the eye. That's only the 16th foul in Federal Way. One more and they'll be in a 1-1, but there's only 1:08 to play in the first half. It's halftime on the other court, so we have the drum line going on. On the other court, you can pick that up coming from the court over to our left. Lincoln and Stanwood are at the half. Lincoln on top 28-20 in the girls 3A tournament. Sanderson gives it back to Streufert in the post to Riley Sorn. Sorn pivots, kicks it back out. Looked like he kind of just lost it, but it went right in the hands of Sanderson. Streufert wants to get it down low to Sorn. Sorn sets the screen. Streufert doesn't like what he sees, picks up his dribble. Good job by Kurtz to help him out. 20 seconds on the shot clock, no real rush here. And there's a blocking foul. So 48.8 to go. It's going to be a 1-and-1 situation for Sanderson, as that was a blocking foul. Boy, good defensive possession there by Federal Way. Maybe just a little bit too aggressive as the shot clock was winding down there and they pick up the foul.
And of course, I mean, you want to do everything you can to get that advantage going into the locker room, and looks like maybe just a little too motivated to get things stopped.
And Richland, a very good free throw shooting team. We'll see if they can capitalize here with Sanderson at the line. And this is a smart move here by Coach Streufert. He gets his star player Tyler Kurtz out. He picked up 2 fouls in the first 59 seconds of this one. Sat for the rest of the first quarter, came out in the second quarter, has played really well. And Kurtz doesn't want to give him a chance to pick up that third foul before the half. Or Streufert doesn't want to give Kurtz a chance to pick up that third foul before the half. He pulls him with 48.8 on the clock at a defensive possession coming up, as Sanderson knocked down the first free throw, and the second free throw's up and around and out. Rebound to Eton Collins. And now Stevens will bring it across the timeline with 40 seconds to play in the half. Slaughter now on the left wing. Stevens on the right wing, defended by Sanderson. Stevens drives middle, goes around. Sorn up with the left hand, no good. Sanderson has it. He's going to push. 25 seconds on the clock. Up ahead to Streufert. Streufert lays it up and no good. So missed layups on both ends. Stevens comes down with the rebound. Can't find his footing. Now he does. 15 seconds to go, and the Eagles can hold for the last shot. Here's Jada looking to go to work on Nathan Mitchell. Jada pulls up. Long two is good. So his foot was over the line, and that'll do it for the first half with the Richland Bombers on top. Oh, no, excuse me. It's 32-all at the end of one. A really spectacular first half from the Tacoma Dome. What a fantastic way to start off the Hardwood Classic here. We have the 4A quarterfinal, the first of four 4A quarterfinals, all knotted up at the half. Richland Bombers 32, two-time defending state champion, Federal Way Eagles 32. We'll step away for a moment. We'll be right back with the halftime show here on the NFHS Network. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Hardwood Classic here at the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington. We have the first quarterfinal of the day going on. We're going to have all 8 boys quarterfinals on this court. We have another crew doing all 8 girls quarterfinals for the 3 and 4A on the court to our left. And we got a good one going on here. We got the two-time defending state champion Federal Way Eagles. Of course, they're going to have a bullseye on their back. They've had that all year. Anytime you win the state championship, I mean, we've been doing Nathan Hale's games all year, and you see it every night. When you're the top dog, teams come for you. You know, they come to play every night against you. Well, at least that's what you hope. You know, sometimes they just don't have the talent to keep up, but Richland doing a good job of hanging in there, shooting a lot of threes. Riley Sorn's been impactful. The big 7'3" junior has been impactful underneath, but it's a variety, guys, getting it done. Northrop seems fearless. Number 24 for Richland. He's been really having a nice first half and attacking these Eagle players. What do you think keys to the second half for Richland? Is it as simple as just saying keep stroking the three?
I think so. I mean, this isn't one you necessarily expect to be as close as it is. They've been doing a great job, you know, keeping in this, and I think just keep it up, maybe step it up a notch. Yeah, keep the three balls going, and of course also just a big part of that is getting Riley Sorn in the position to do what he can on both ends of the court. He's really a force that they can't quite match up against specifically.
And with the finishers, the guys who like to finish around the rim for Federal Way, they got the athleticism. You've seen Eton Collins with a couple of dunks. Malcolm Cola's thrown down a dunk already so far today. Riley Sorn is so crucial, and just kind of not even necessarily blocking shots, which he's done plenty of that, but just making the Federal Way Eagles know that he's there. And I think the key for the Eagles moving forward is just to get out on the break. The more you can keep Riley Sorn out of the game and not let him get planted underneath the hoop to defend your offensive basket, the better off you're going to fare here in the second half. And I expect an up-tempo second half from Federal Way as we're tied at 32 with the second half underway. And there's a nice dribble drive, underhand pass from Jada to, I think he hit Eton Collins, who lays it up and in.
Yeah, get right through.
So Jada went right at the big man, dumped it off to Collins. Collins finished it at the rim with Sorn nowhere to be found. And there's Eton Collins coming up with a steal. So Collins first with the bucket. Now he comes up with a steal. Here's Slaughter in the corner. Slaughter steps back, mid-range jumper, no good. Sorn and that's Eton Collins again. He's all over the place. Jada for three, no good. Sorn battles for the rebound. He comes down with it, and a foul will be called. I believe this foul is going to go on Eton Collins. So Eton Collins has come out of the locker room like a man possessed. He has a bucket, a steal, a rebound. He's doing a little bit of everything so far. And all of Federal Way has a 2-point lead, 34-32. Less than a minute into the third quarter. Cross-court pass over to Wagar. Here's Northrop for three, no good. Northrop follows his own shot, comes down with the rebound after tipping it up once. Corner three for Kurtz, up and good. So Northrop misses the three from the top of the key, comes flying in, gets his own rebound, kicks it out to Kurtz in the corner for a triple. And that foul's going to go on Wagar as Stevens tried to push the ball But what a tremendous play by Northrop, and it makes me look brilliant because I just called his name just a few minutes ago and said how good I thought he was in the first half.
Really, I think the important storyline that hasn't been talked about a lot yet is how this game is proving you right in so many ways.
And there's a deuce for Federal Way, 36-35 in favor of the Eagles. So a little bit of back and forth to start the third quarter after being all nutted up at the end of the first half.
See, I think you actually could do the how they're going to play today's seeding. You could do that. You can see what's going to happen.
Northrop for three, no good. Kurtz tips it back out to Wagar. Wagar down low to Riley Sorn for his second dunk of the night, or the day, the night day.
The night day.
The people watching, they don't know what time it is.
There are no windows in the Tacoma Dome. Yeah. It could be night.
At least none that I see from here. So it's 37-36 in favor of Richland. There's a turnover. Jada gives it up. Northrop possesses, drives, and he's fouled coming up the court, and we're finally going to have a break in the action, so I can tell you what we just received. We just received first half stats from the stat keepers here at the Tacoma Dome, which is very helpful for us broadcasters. Leading scorers for the two teams, Garrett Streufert, the coach's son, leads the way for Richland with 9 points. Riley Sorn had 8 in the first half. Northrop had 6, and Sanderson had 5. For Federal Way, the leading scorers, 9 for Rashawn Slaughter, 7 for Jada and Stevens, and 5 for Malcolm Cola. Kurtz over to Sanderson. Oh, the pressure's really stepping up here for the Eagles. Slaughter on the break. Slaughter goes right at Sanderson, goes up and off the window and in. Federal Way regains that 1-point advantage. Boy, they're special when they get out on the break. I mean, they got 3 or 4 guys running, and they know how to finish when they get out there in the open court. Pressure broken by Richland. Kurtz with a corner three, no good. Rebound to Sanderson, out to Northrop. NBA three, no good. Rebound to Kurtz, who puts it up and off the glass and in with the left hand. And we're going score for score here at the Hardwood Classic. 39-38 Richland. Pull-up jumper for Stevens is good. Apparently these young men don't care about my voice. It's going to start to crack, and I'm only in game 1 of 8. Up ahead, here's Kurtz, who wants to drive this time. He gets trapped along the baseline, finds Northrop in the lane, puts it up and in. Bucket for bucket, 41-40 in favor of Richland.
A lot faster pace to the start for this the second half than the beginning of the game.
And I don't think this favors the big man, Riley Sorn. I think we're going to see him start to labor a bit. I think this is just what Federal Way wants, even though they're trailing at the moment. Eaton Collins puts it up, and just as I say that, Riley Sorn tells me to shut my mouth.
I think that's exactly what was on his mind.
Malcolm Cola puts it up over Kurtz, no good. The smallest man on the court comes up with the offensive rebound. That's Vongsavang. Federal Way can't capitalize on that possession. Now Richland out on the break. Corner three for Sanderson, up and way long. That rebound is battled for. Wagar knocks it out. He's claiming that it was off of Stevens. It sure was close, but it's off of Wagar. Federal Way with the ball. Eaton Collins going to take a break. Sanderson to take a break. McDaniels re-enters, and Streufert re-enters for Richland. So the two sophomores coming back in, Jaden McDaniels for Federal Way and Garrett Streufert for the Richland Bombers. And it's still 41-40 in favor of Richland, and we're just about halfway through the third quarter. Rashawn Slaughter just to go to work on Streufert. Slaughter uses the screen nicely. Good defense by Streufert. Fadeaway jumper for Slaughter, no good. Streufert battles for the rebound with McDaniels. McDaniels comes down with it. Tries to get a pass away to Slaughter. Northrop saves it off the leg of somebody. It was off of Slaughter's leg and out. Oh, the officials are going to talk about it. There was a Richland player in the same area. I'm not sure whose leg it went off of, and I'm sure that's the conversation the two officials are having on the baseline. And they're going to rule it went off of the Richland player. It was too close to call for me up here, and as you can imagine, the Richland faithful sitting all around us are not happy with that call.
Not in the least bit.
All right, 3:50 to play in the third quarter. Finally got a moment to catch my breath, and I don't even know what to do with myself.
I don't know either. We're at a loss, complete loss of words. I hope they start something soon, because we have nothing.
I'm not sure how. I'm trying to figure out what the officials are doing. There was a little bit of delay on the court. There's the inbound play to McDaniels on the baseline. He puts the floater up over Riley Sorn. 42-41. The Eagles have regained the lead. Northrop across the timeline over to Kurtz. Tyler Kurtz averaged 18 points a game throughout the year. Here's Northrop. He thought about a long three again. Streufert, once it looks down low for Sorn, that pass is deflected. Sorn ends up coming down with it, and he tried to pass it out. And here's an interesting situation. Sorn's pass hit the bottom of the backboard and went out. The officials are so not used to seeing that.
Yeah, doesn't happen every day in
they ruled that it was
school basketball.
They got together and they still ruled that it was deflected. I don't think that was deflected by anybody. I'm pretty sure Sorn, who was trapped under the hoop, passed it off the bottom of the backboard and out. But the possession will stay with Richland. They may have caught a little bit of a break there. I think the officials have been pretty good this morning thus far. I'm not going to be too overly critical of them. Nice play there from Richland, who got a floater off to Streufert, but Streufert unable to capitalize. That rattles in and out. But the steal, Wagar, once again with the defense. I know they give out Defensive Players of the Year. Do they give out Defensive Players of the Game? Because Wagar's going to be mine. There's a big block by Malcolm Kola, but Northrop comes down with it. He thought about the shot over in the corner to Streufert. Streufert with a three after the defender fell down. That one's no good short. The shot clock never reset, but there's a triple for Kurtz. As you can see, the leading scorers found his touch, and nobody was back on Slaughter. Slaughter's fouled. That's a hard foul. I don't think there was anything wrong with that one. It's just an unfortunate play. Slaughter hit the deck, but he's able to pop back up as it looks like Streufert tried to go check on him. Remember, they don't have a flagrant foul rule at the high school level. It's called intentional foul. So as long as you're making an attempt at the ball, which I think clearly Streufert was, you're not going to get an intentional foul, and it wouldn't be the two shots and the ball like you would see for like an NBA flagrant foul.
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was any malintent there. It was just a hard play at the ball, and that happened to be the result.
So Richland with a 2-point lead, and Slaughter at the line. Slaughter misses the front end, short. Jada will re-enter for the name I'm having trouble with, Vongsavang. Hopefully Coach Collins will do me a favor and just leave him out for a little bit. No offense to the young man, but
Vongsavang.
Yeah. Vongsavang. Slaughter's second free throw attempt is no good, short. So that's something to keep an eye on. Slaughter's been, he's been real solid. He was the leading scorer for Federal Way in the first half. And all of a sudden he hits the deck hard. He misses 2 free throws. Something to keep an eye on. Is he a little banged up? McDaniels gets called for a foul, trying to fend off the big man inside. So that's a 6'8" sophomore going up against a 7'3" junior. And I'm your 5'10" broadcaster. My producer Ryan Mead says I'm 5'9", but trust me, folks, I'm 5'10".
Let's see. According to my license, I'm 6 foot.
Okay.
I kind of round up a bit.
So Riley Sorn misses the first free throw, with Richland still holding that 2-point lead. First time we've seen the big man have to do anything away from the rim today as far as shooting. And Sorn splits a pair, so it's 45-42 in favor of Richland. 2:35 to play in the third quarter. Bombers on top by 3. Stevens across the timeline being defended by Wagar, who's the DPOG. That just means Defensive Player of the Game, but it sounds like it might be like some sort of hip-hop group.
DPOG?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd listen.
Jada drives. Pass it to Stevens. Stevens doesn't like what he sees. Slaughter for 3, no good. Sorn comes down with the rebound. Eton Collins has no fear going head-to-head with Sorn. Collins listed at 6'5", giving up 10 inches to the big guy. Kurtz for 3, no good. Streufert tries for the rebound. Him and Stevens were battling for it. Slaughter comes down with it. Malcolm Kola running the floor. Cross-court pass to Jada. Defended by Mitchell. Jada drives, pulls up free throw line, lefty jumper, off the rim, no good. Sorn with another rebound.
You can just bend it down to get that one.
Yeah. Wagar kicks it out top to Streufert. And Sorn only had 4 rebounds in that first half, and 4 blocks, though. Let's see his impact on the inside. Garrett Streufert for 3. The corner 3 right in front of his own bench. Doubles up the Richland lead. It's 48-42. And Coach Jerome Collins of Federal Way wants a timeout to talk it over with his team. There's 1:14 to play in the third quarter, and I think these Richland fans can sense upset.
Oh yeah, you can tell they're really, of course, starting to get more and more excited. I mean, just to go in tied at halftime to the two-time defending state champ, you got to be really excited, and now to have that 6-point lead. I mean, still a lot can happen, but I think they have no doubt their team has the talent and the drive to get there. We'll just see how it plays out.
So Richland was 4 for 10 from three-point territory in the first half. Federal Way only 2 of 4, and Richland's knocked down a couple more in this second half. I think Kurtz might have knocked down 2, actually, and that was Garrett Streufert's first in the second half. So by my calculation, that's 7 threes for Richland, which is their big advantage in this one, as Federal Way is getting to the free throw line more. And they're a lot better around the rim with their athleticism than Richland is. Wagar defending Stevens in the backcourt. These two have been going head-to-head all morning. Wagar's done a terrific job of defending the point guard for Federal Way. And just as I say that, Stevens makes a nice move, but unable to finish. Rebound went to Streufert. Streufert, two-man game with Wagar in the backcourt, now up ahead to Kurtz. Sorn comes out to set the screen. Kurtz drives on Stevens, puts up a floater, no good. Kurtz gets his own rebound, puts it back up and in. 50-42, 40 seconds to play in the third quarter. Two-time defending state champion, the Federal Way Eagles, are on their heels a bit as they trail by 8. Collins thought about a free throw line jumper, nothing doing there. Kicks it out to Jada, probably a smart move by Collins, as Jada strokes a 3, 50-45 in favor of Richland. 20 seconds to play in the third quarter, and Richland can hold for the last shot attempt of the quarter. Got to figure at the very least Richland should go into the fourth quarter with a 5-point lead. Maybe more if this possession is run.
We'll see if they can make a statement here as time expires.
Streufert, corner 3, no good. Rebound battle for. Slaughter comes down with it. He's not going to get a shot off in time. I don't think Slaughter was aware of how much time was on the clock. So at the end of 3 quarters here at the Tacoma Dome in our first quarterfinal of the day, it's 50-45. The Richland Bombers on top of the Federal Way Eagles. We'll step away for a moment here on the NFHS Network, and we'll be right back with the last quarter of action. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Tacoma Dome. We have our first fourth quarter of the day. One of 8 fourth quarters on this court. Knock on wood that they get through all 8 of them. On the other
I think that's why they call it the Hardwood Classic.
We have a girls 3A quarterfinal going on the other court. Lincoln on top 45-34 with 4:41 to play in that one. Here on this court, a 4A quarterfinal, 50-45. The 11th seed Richland Bombers on top of the 4th seed Federal Way Eagles heading into the fourth quarter. Streufert thought about a 3. Oh, excuse me, that's Sanderson. Kurtz has it out top. Kurtz, after picking up that early foul trouble, seemed to struggle to find his rhythm in the first half, but he has certainly found his rhythm in the second half as he has been going off. 52-45, 7:30 to play in this one. The Federal Way Eagles need to dig deep and find something here as they trail by 7. Jada, free throw line, here's Malcolm Cola. Oh, that's Eton Collins again. I keep doing that. Stevens drives, right hand. Step back. Riley Sorn swats that one out beyond the 3-point line. Stevens come down with it. Miscommunication on defense. Sorn, after he swatted a shot, nobody went out and guarded Stevens. So Sorn was kind of stuck in between. He wasn't sure if he should go out beyond the 3-point line. And a miscommunication leads to a lay-in for Eton Collins and a 5-second violation by Richland. They've been kind of struggling a bit with this pressure from time to time. And they turn it over right after the bucket by Collins. So miscommunication by Richland after the big block shot by Sorn leads to an easy bucket for Federal Way. Inbound pass to Malcolm Cola. Now the turnover, ball right back to Federal Way. Malcolm Cola trying to go to work on Kurtz. Sorn sends that one flying. Back up Cola, and he's fouled this time by Sorn. Boy, Sorn really doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to jump until the other guy jumps. He's almost a foot taller than everybody out there. He can stay on his feet and wait until he knows somebody's going up to jump up and block it.
I wonder if he just thinks, like, you know, if he's that imposing on his feet, if I jump up, I mean, that's got to be terrifying. I don't know. I would react right under them. Yeah, he doesn't have to. He's imposing enough there, and then we result in something like that.
And Richland gets away with it as Malcolm Cola misses both free throws. And Coach Streufert before the game, he made a point of mentioning there's a turnover by Kurtz as him and Northrop not on the same page. Streufert, a coach for Richland, made a point of saying before the game, Riley Sorn, he's a junior. He's a young junior. He's still only 16 years old. You know, a lot of kids, they turn 17 by the end of the junior year. There's like 3 months left in the school year, and he's still only 16 years old. So he's a young junior, and that's, you know, that's a maturation, the maturation process of playing basketball. Don't leave your feet on either end. You know, on offense or defense, don't leave your feet with the ball or without the ball. It puts you in a bad situation a lot. Or don't leave your feet on the offense until you know what you're going to do with it, as my dad always used to say. That foul on Wagar will put Stevens on the line. Timeout taken by Earl Streufert with his team on top, 52-47. 6:30 to play here in this one. 4 team fouls for Richland, 3 team fouls for Federal Way. No real foul trouble either way, which is what you like to see, right? You want to see the players decide these games. That's why we're all here. These officials have done a great job. I think most of the year, the WIAA, the Metro League games that I've done all year, I think I've had pretty good officiating crews, not too many officials trying to take over games, and that's certainly not the case here today.
Yeah, it means so much. You want to make sure it's them earning it and not having that, you know, what if one thing gone one way or another. It's not a very debatable lead here that Richland has here at 52-47.
Bombers, the upset-minded Bombers trying to knock off the 2-time defending state champions, the Federal Way Eagles. Boy, I mean, it's impressive. You lose 4 starters. You start off the season 22-0. You set a state record for win streak, and then you break the national record for win streak, 63 games in a row. And they lost 4 starters from last year's champion team. It's just incredible, the program that Jerome Collins has built down there at Federal Way. Or it's up there now. I guess North,
it is up.
North and South really
up.
aren't up or down. So
depends where you're watching.
First free throw is missed by Stevens. You know, the Federal Way Eagles have had the advantage at the free throw line, but really haven't been able to capitalize this second half. They've been there a lot, but not really knocking many down. As we just saw Cola miss a pair a moment ago. Slaughter in the third quarter missed a pair. That time, the pair was split. Inbound pass gets deflected, but it comes right back to Streufert. Streufert breaks the press with a long pass up ahead to Northrop. Northrop goes up, puts it up, and no good. Fouls on Stevens, though. Northrop will go to the line for 2 free throws with his team on top by 4. 6:18 to play here at the Tacoma Dome in our first quarterfinal. Let's tell you what we have up next for you. Up next here on this court, we have Kennedy Catholic against Union. Kennedy Catholic beat Glacier Peak last night, 53-35, as Northrop misses the first free throw. And it wasn't last night, it was yesterday morning. Same start time as today, 10:30 start time today. They started at 10:30 yesterday. So
I mean, this should be consistent. It's as last night as this is tonight.
And just as I talked about Federal Way not capitalizing from the free throw line, Northrop misses a pair. So still that 4-point lead for the Bombers. 6 minutes to play here in this quarterfinal. Stevens drives, goes right at Sorn, lays it up, no good. Rebound, battled for. Somebody comes down with it. That ball is blocked, but there's a foul call and a late whistle. I don't mind the late whistle so much as I think that was a clean block. The problem I've never had with late whistles is if it's a quick whistle, doesn't that mean they're too anxious to blow it? You know, I talked about how, you know, the players should be deciding these ones. If it's a quick whistle, it's almost like they're too anxious to blow it. You should never be simultaneous with the foul. You know, there should be a little delay. You have a second to process what you just saw.
They might have just sneezed.
Yeah, but the foul was
accidentally
called. And this is somebody who hasn't been in the game much today. This is Elijah Nanabu, the 6'3" junior guard, wearing number 2 for Federal Way. And he splits a pair of free throws, so it's now a 3-point lead for Richland. Streufert across the timeline, almost loses it, saves it over towards Wagar. Wagar picks it up to Northrop. Northrop to Streufert. Boy, Kurtz wanted that ball on the wing. Streufert didn't see him. Sorn's going to come over and set a screen for Kurtz. Kurtz loses it, swiped away by Eton Collins. Collins up ahead of the pack. Lefty laying is up and good. It's a 1-point lead for the Bombers. Active hands, active defense for Federal Way, leading the way as they're only trailing by 1 now. Northrop breaks the press, passes over to Sorn. Sorn is fouled on the catch. I don't believe that's going to be a shooting foul. Now, I do believe the official just pointed at the ground. So that's going to be the 5th foul on Federal Way. Richland also has 5 team fouls. Both have 1 to spare before they get into a 1-and-1 situation. Streufert to inbound from the baseline. Thinks about it, passes it, cross court, corner to Kurtz for three, no good. Boy, that just missed. It was off the back of the rim and comes right back towards Kurtz. The rebound to Collins, and now Stevens pushes it. Sorn defends him. He somehow gets it up over Sorn. Misses, though, and the rebound I thought was possessed by Streufert, but he was out of control. I'm not even sure why he stumbled like that. And he loses it. Ball back to Federal Way, so extra possessions for the Eagles as they try to regain the lead in this one.
Looked like maybe just got an awkward angle at it and lost a little bit of balance, but...
And there's a jump ball as Northrop hits the deck, battles against his opposing number 24, Jada, and the ball will stay with Federal Way as that's where the possession arrow points. 15 seconds on the shot clock, I think. We got a rough angle at the shot clock, but I think that's what it says. And Federal Way has the ball. Yeah, the only place we're just to the left of midcourt here, and the only place they have the shot clock is up above the backboards. There's no other place in this building where there's the shot clock, and the clock is kind of faint from our angle. So 15 seconds on the shot clock is what we're calling it. 4:49 left in the game. Richland on top by 1. It was back and forth to start this second half after being tied at the end of 1. Jada for three, no good, short. Oh, he missed by a long shot. Wagar up ahead of the pack. Wagar goes up, and it's swatted. I can't even tell you which one of those guys got a piece of it. I'm going to go ahead and say it was the 6'7" Malcolm Cola who swats that one out on the baseline. And Wagar knew he had to get it up there quickly. He knew he wasn't going to go up over the two guys who were trailing him, as there's a huge athleticism gap between these two teams.
He almost ran out into the girls' court.
Baseline out of bounds play, and that ball's off the hands of Wagar and out. So Wagar's been spectacular on defense today. Not so much on the offensive end, especially the last couple of possessions. Can't blame him for the block shot, but he lost that pass out, and it was a good pass right on the money. He was in a position to possibly score if he controlled it. So Richland still on top by 1. Turning the ball over far too much and really giving the Eagles extra possessions as Slaughter is fouled coming around the screen. That foul is going to be on Garrett Streufert. Eton Collins to inbound. Collins to Jada. Now Collins controls, looking for his point guard Stevens. Now looking for Slaughter. That ball's deflected. Slaughter possesses over to Jada. Now Cola tries to go up over Sorn. Sorn didn't block that one, but he certainly altered it. And Richland comes away with the rebound. We're halfway through the fourth quarter, and Richland's on top by 1. Well, Richland's got to be careful with these passes. That pass was almost picked off by Eton Collins, but there's a foul on the floor. And now there's 6 team fouls apiece, so the next foul on either side, somebody will be shooting free throws. That's going to be a story as we go down the stretch. Neither team has been spectacular from the foul line today.
No, and that could be what makes the difference here. I almost said tonight as well this morning here in this quarterfinal game.
Northrop thought about an NBA range 3. Pass it down to Sorn. Sorn is fouled by Stevens. So Sorn split a pair of free throws, his only time at the foul line in the second half. And now Sorn has a chance, and he'll go to line. Let's see if they give him a 1-and-1 or 2 free throws. I think they just said 2, but yeah, they did 2 free throws. I wasn't sure if they were saying he was going up for a shot or if it was on the catch. This will be a 2-shot foul. As Sorn knocks down the first. Good touch there from the big man. We see a lot of big men in the NBA game struggle with free throws, and it looks like Sorn has some nice touch on those foul shots. He's 2 of 3 from the line today, and even the one he missed didn't look bad at all. Sorn's second free throw just long, no good. Rebound to Malcolm Cola. So 53-51, 3:45 to play in this one. Slaughter out to Eton Collins. Now Slaughter looks to go to work on Streufert. Slaughter from 15, no good. Actually a little further than 15, it's about an 18-foot jumper, which is no good. Northrop now with it after the Sorn rebound. Nice backdoor cut by Sorn, who glides through the air. That was good footwork by the big man. and Sorn throws down a huge jam to double the lead for Richland. It's now 55-51 with just over 3 minutes to play in the fourth.
That's probably the most aggressive of his dunks we've seen. A lot of them just because of his height, they're almost just kind of effortless dunk, but that one really had some heart in it.
And, the difference was, the other ones he just caught right underneath the rim, and he just had to go up. That one he caught about 10 to 12 feet from the bucket. He had to take one monster step and then go in and dunk it. No, it was probably a couple steps, but yeah, he was actually on the move that time. But
he hasn't been in that position much.
To see the coordination to be able to finish that one, that was quite impressive. Substitution. Wagar, I believe, just took a seat, and Sanderson has re-entered. Stevens at the line for a 1-and-1. First free throw for Stevens, rolls it in. So 55-52. Let's see if Stevens can convert a pair here. Again, the winner of this game will go on to play the winner of Kennedy Catholic and Union, the 1-seed Union. And that'll be up next here on the NFHS network. And Stevens rolls them both in. So it's 55-53. Stevens cuts that lead back in half. McDaniels guarding Northrop in the backcourt. Ball deflected. Northrop up ahead to Sanderson. Sanderson had Sorn, just couldn't find him. Northrop now with it to Kurtz. Over to Sanderson. Sanderson drives, goes up with the right hand, no good. Rebound battled for, ball's on the deck. Eton Collins comes down with it. Who else? Or comes up with it, seeing as the ball was on the ground. McDaniels looks to go to work on Northrop. Northrop a little bit of a hand check there, but no foul. 2:30 to play, and Jerome Collins wants a timeout. 2:32 to go here in this one. 55-53. And let's see if the nerves kick in here for either of these teams. You wouldn't think they'd kick in for Federal Way. They've been here. They have 3 seniors in the starting lineup. They do have some youth on the team, which I think bodes well for the future of their program, but they do have 3 seniors, and this is when you need your 3 seniors to shine the brightest here. 3 seniors that start: Rashawn Slaughter, Malcolm Cola, and Marcus Stevens. Those are the guys who need to shine right now for this Federal Way team if they're going to advance in this tournament.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll see if they are up to the task right now. I mean, just down 2, a little over 2 minutes left. I mean, hey, that's why they call it the Hardwood Classic. It's a classic. We're going to watch a classic right now.
We certainly hope we get a lot of classic games. An update on the girls' 3A quarterfinal. Lincoln is going to advance in that one. Lincoln on top, 52-37 over Stanwood at the moment. And there's only 12.9 seconds to go in that one, so Lincoln has that victory in hand in our first quarterfinal to finish of the day. We'll be doing all 16 games today, 8 on this court and on the other court, but we got 2:20 to go here from this one. It's a 2-point lead for Richland, and Federal Way is looking for answers. They try to get this offense going, and there's a turnover. That's not the answer they were looking for, and what hurts even more is that was coming out of a timeout. You call a timeout, and you come out, and you turn the ball over in that possession. That hurts. It kind of stings a little bit extra, not just a normal turnover, but you try to draw up something where you're going to get a bucket and get this game back to level, or maybe even take the lead with the 3. And instead you turn it over, and Richland has the ball coming right back.
Yeah, had the opportunity to take the momentum, and, well,
backdoor cut, got it right turnover. Streufert threw that pass maybe a little bit too hot, looking for Sanderson. That's a turnover, and Eton Collins comes down and jams it home to knot things back up at 55.
Right at the 2-minute mark, we get back to a tie game here.
Sanderson dribbles, finds Sorn. Sorn puts it up and off the glass. Boy, that was a nifty finish. He caught the ball with his back to the hoop, all in one motion, turned and put it up off the glass and in to give Richland back that 2-point lead. Stevens drives right at Sorn, puts it up with the right hand on the left side, and it's 57-all with 1:28 to play. Jerome Collins takes a timeout. This is one thing that you can do at the high school and college level that I just don't like, that you can call a timeout as a defensive team after you just scored a bucket. So you score and you can take a timeout. It's not a dead ball. It's a change of possession, so that technically the possession belongs to the other team once you score. You should not be able to call a timeout in that situation.
Right, it really does put them at an advantage there, being able to kind of punctuate whatever statement they just made there.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand it. For coaches, I don't blame coaches for using it. I just wish the rule would change, because for a coach, yeah, you want to be able to set up your defense. Like You don't let them advance the ball to half court if they call a timeout or anything like that. Set up your defense. Make sure your kids know what they're doing. It's an excellent strategy. I just wish the ability to use that strategy didn't exist. So
I respect it. I just don't want it to be there.
No, like I said I respect the coach's use of it. But
of course,
I think we're on the same page.
You got to do everything you can to get the advantage.
1:28 to play. 57 all is our score. I think this game might be running a little bit behind schedule. The next game is slated to start at 10:30, and those teams still have to warm up. Once again, that's Kennedy Catholic against the 1 seed Union. But right now, the Eagles and Bombers are going head-to-head. It's 57 all, 1:28 to play.
Do you know the nickname for the city of Tacoma?
I don't.
City of Destiny.
Oh, okay.
So it's a great fitting name for the city that hosts the both 3 and 4A championship, both basketball and football.
And wrestling. They host a lot of championship events down here. It's a terrific venue for this event. It holds about, 23,000 people, I think. Kurtz on the left wing drives. That ball is deflected back out to Streufert. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Kurtz still with it. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Kurtz out top over to Streufert. They're going to have to hustle now. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Northrop thought about a 3. Now Northrop steps, but it's going to be called. He's going to be called for a travel. That's a good call. Great defensive possession by Federal Way. The Eagles really locked down there, and that's the first time we've seen either team get anywhere close to a shot clock violation. And in response to that, Northrop tried to step through a defender, lifted his pivot foot, and gets called for the travel. 57 all, and all of a sudden, Federal Way, after trailing pretty much this entire fourth quarter. Actually, they've trailed the entire fourth quarter, a little back and forth early in the third. But since then, Richland's kind of taken over, and now Federal Way has a chance to take the lead in the last minute of play. Stevens pulls up from the free throw line, passes over to Malcolm Cola. Back to Stevens. Stevens going to go to work on Sanderson. Stevens drives, kicks it over to McDaniels for 3, no good. Rebound to Streufert. Streufert being defended by Eton Collins in the backcourt. And there's a timeout called by Earl Streufert, the coach, as his son was being defended well in the backcourt. Does that say 29 or 25 seconds on the shot clock? I think it says 29. So there's less than a second differential.
29, yeah.
There's 29.6 on the game clock, 29 seconds on the shot clock, which doesn't display tenths of a second. So there's less than a second differential between the clocks here. Richland with the ball. We're all knotted up at 57. The Bombers in an excellent position to hold for the last shot here. And if they make it, great. If not, they go to overtime. That should be the worst case scenario for the Richland Bombers as this clock winds down here to end this game.
And of course, they can protect the ball again, so it's going to be a very aggressive Federal Way Eagles team coming out there, and they have really been showing it in this quarter too, just their ability to get after the ball and change things in their favor.
Yeah, and aggressive, you said it, an aggressive Federal Way defense, but I have to ask you, they have 17 fouls. Any foul puts Richland on the free throw line. So does that maybe take away some of the aggression for Federal Way?
Could, unless they want to go at it early, but I don't see that maybe putting a bit more in their control, giving them a chance, and then taking the potential to go down to then have the last say.
Well, they're certainly showing some pressure right now as they're defending all of these guys for Richland out well beyond the three-point line, and now McDaniels picks up Northrop in the backcourt after the inbound play from the sideline. Northrop looking for space, picks up his dribble. Garrett Streufert comes over to help him out. 15 seconds on the clock. Streufert takes one dribble and then picks it up. Great defense by Federal Way. Sanderson drives, puts it up and off the glass and in. 7 seconds to go. Here's Stevens, dribbles it up, and a timeout is called. 5.7 to play. The Bombers on top, 59-57. Oh, and we got a good one, folks. Let's see what Federal Way can come up with. They're going to inbound the ball about 10 feet from half court into their back court. So they're going to have some ways to go to get a shot off, and with only 5 seconds on the clock, that's not an easy feat to get a good shot off from this position in the inbound.
Not at all. They really do have their work cut out for them here. Again, they do have a lot of experience, but no matter how much experience you have, even being here, being further in the playoffs, it still being down 5.7 seconds left, and that is, no matter what level, going to be a very tall task.
Sanderson has been quiet offensively. I'm not sure he scored in the second half. He had 5 points on the first half, but I don't think I recall him hitting a bucket here in the second half. So I think that was his 7th point of the game, and it's a big one, and one he will certainly remember, especially if the Eagles are unable to capitalize here and tie things back up or possibly take the lead with a 3-pointer and win this thing at the buzzer. We got a great finish for you here. This is the first of 8 games on this court as Federal Way tries to keep the three-peat hopes alive. And now Coach Streufert, looking at the Eagles' alignment, he decides to take a timeout. He wants to talk things over with his team. He wants to see how I like that strategy. The Eagles show their hand a little bit, and you talk to your team and say, okay, they've shown what they're going to do. Here's how we're going to respond to that. And either maybe you at least plan for what they want to do. They don't change what they want to do, but at least you come up with a plan for it. Or you make the other team change what they want to do.
Either way, yeah, taking that moment to just take as much control as you can before the clock starts.
So let's see if the experience of this Federal Way team pays off as they trail by 2 with 5.7 seconds to go. Look for the ball to be in the hands of the point guard, Marcus Stevens. They put somebody else in the backcourt with them, Malcolm Cola, although I think he'll be there to set a screen. And the officials have halted the action. The Richland bench is clapping. I'm not sure. Federal Way came out of the timeout with 6 players on the court. It's a technical foul. Federal Way broke the timeout with 6 players on the floor. That's a technical foul. It's 2 shots and the ball for Richland.
What a bizarre way to...
The official on the near side caught it. He went over and talked to the other official. I think he just wanted to check and make sure he had the rule right. I don't know. As Northrop knocks down the first free throw, I'd have to consult my rule book there, and I'm not sure if it is a infraction, if they have to actually hand the ball to the inbounder first, or what the deal is there. But Northrop knocks down a pair of free throws, and the Bombers will have the ball, and they're going to advance. I mean, it would take a miracle here for Federal Way to do something. I mean, even if Richland turns the ball over here, all they have to do is not foul, and they win this one. Inbound pass over to Kurtz. Kurtz dribbles back towards the midcourt line, throws it up in the air, smart play, and it's all over. 61-57, the 11 seed Richland Bombers get the quarterfinals here at the Hardwood Classic, started off in upset spectacular fashion. The 2-time defending state champion Federal Way Eagles are out by 10:30 on Thursday morning.
Quite a way to wake up.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll wake you up at the beginning of the day. Just such an exciting game with just a bizarre ending there. And we expected to see, at least this, if Richland was going to win, which of course they just did, that we were going to see it on a big defensive stand, and ends up with a technical foul. They get the 2 shots and are just able to dribble around, throw the ball up in the air.
Yeah.
And there we go. We have the game.
You know, as a basketball fan, somebody who doesn't have a rooting interest in this game per se, you watch this game and I'm thinking, I'd like to see Federal Way get a last shot attempt. I mean, that was a crazy ending, and it gives us a lot to talk about, a lot of things that we can discuss the rule and discuss what actually happened. We can also go back to our rule book later and say, all right, was that actually the right call? We can discuss all these things. And so it is exciting for that. But just as a basketball fan, you want to see like a potential game-winning shot attempt, which we didn't get to see. Or potential game-tying shot attempt, we didn't get to see it. Not saying the officials did anything wrong. I'm just saying as a pure basketball fan, that's what I was hoping for when Federal Way got the ball back. Unfortunately, there was some sort of miscommunication on their bench. They got a technical foul. They had 6 players on the court. No real need to discuss, whether or not that was the right call. I'm sure it was in the rule book. The officials did a good job of talking it over between themselves.
Gained our trust for this game. Yeah, they clearly we believe them.
Yeah, they got the okay from us folks at home. In case you're wondering, the officials do have the okay from Alex Meyer and Matthew Bissett.
We've officially certified the game. The game has been certified by ABC Jams Productions.
We'll allow it.
You got to think that second timeout. I mean, that did seem to. I mean, it worked.
Well, they switched.
It worked.
They switched up something right
Yeah.
after the timeout by Streufert. They switched up something because previously they only had Stevens in the backcourt to get the inbound pass and to do something. This time they put Malcolm Cole in the backcourt with them. I don't know who the 5 players were that were on the floor before the timeout and who the 6 were that were on the floor after the timeout. But they did switch something, so that's a great point that there was some sort of change in their strategy after the timeout. Before the timeout, they had the perfect amount of people. The 5 people that you're allowed on the court, that's who was there. After the timeout, 6 people, technical foul, Richland wins. Incredible.
It is quite an ending to the game. Not the one that maybe we'd all hoped for, but still, just I mean that's one you're going to remember.
So the Richland Bombers are on to the semifinals with a 61-57 thrilling victory over the 2-time defending state champion Federal Way Eagles here at the Tacoma Dome. The Hardwood Classic is off to a fantastic start. Up next, we have Kennedy Catholic and Union. That's the 10 seed Kennedy Catholic versus the 1 seed Union. That'll be up next here on the NFHS Network as those teams begin warming up. We'll go and step away. We're going to come back on the other link. Make sure you join us for that if you're interested. But once again, 61-57. The Richland Bombers are on their way to the semifinals. We thank you for everyone here at ABC Jam Productions for joining us on the NFHS Network for this event. We hope you join us for more events the rest of the day. For my producer, Ryan Mead, my camera girl, my videographer, Karen Dean, and my co-broadcaster, Alex Meyer, I'm Matthew Bissett, and we'll see you in just moments here at the Tacoma Dome on the NFHS Network. Thanks for tuning in.